All right. Well, we're right back here, and it's time to look at for the first time this year, Screen Actors Guild nomination predictions here. So I'm going to look up here. When did these get announced here? I don't have the date on these. Let's see. Somewhere it'll give me the date on this. I know it will. I think it's February 4th. So we're going to have then the Globes. Yeah, we already talked about the Globes. So that's February 3rd. So the next day is when SAG nominations come out. So, pretty much for SAG this year, just kind of a couple general rules of thumb. One general rule of thumb I always go by, and one that I think I've really picked up on here in the last couple of years. And we'll look at a couple past nominees here, especially when we get to the ensemble category and stuff like that. I'm going to pull up the last couple years of awards here just to kind of help me out here to kind of prove the case here. Let's see. Here we go. That's the easiest way to get to it. All right. So with these, the first general rule of thumb I always use is, especially in the ensemble category, you look at where's your fairly diverse cast here. You know, you always get at least one that's that way. Parasite was, of course, a big example last year. Bombshell had not mostly, but good chunk female cast. The three leads were all females. Jojo Rabbit, even though it wasn't, like hugely diverse in terms of like skin color or anything like that, it was quite a bit going on there between male and female and stuff like that. You go back the previous year, 2018's year, you had Black Panther, Black Klansman, pretty diverse. Crazy Rich Asians, of course, another diverse cast there. Stuff like that. And one more year just to kind of prove that point. You look at Get Out was nominated that year, The Big Sick, Mudbound was a big one that year. So, yeah, I mean, you'll get your, almost all white casts. Like this particular year, you had like almost all of them are white in Three Billboards, and then Lady Bird also mostly white cast. And, like Irishman was in last year. That's pretty, pretty much straight white people for the most part. Bohemian Rhapsody, it does have, the characters are kind of, at least the, of course, Freddie Mercury characters, bisexual or in that. So, but Star is Born, you do have like Dave Chappelle and stuff in there, but it's like, yeah, it's mostly white. And then, we mentioned Irishman last year. So with that, I'm kind of looking at who I'm predicting this year, and I kind of talked about it in my last video there about the Oscars, but Trial of the Chicago 7 I think is my front runner right now, just because it's a huge ensemble. I mean, vastly talented performers in there, and most of them are giving really, really good performances in this film. I mean, any year, I mean, you could almost fill up the whole supporting actor category from people from this film. Not just Sacha Baron Cohen, Mark Rylance, and Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, who most everybody has at least two of those three in for supporting actor right now. But like Jeremy Strong and what's his name? Sorry, I was gonna say Tom Hiddleston. No, it's Eddie Redmayne. God, I couldn't think of his name for a minute there. Yeah. Those, and then Michael Keaton shows up for Frank Langella. You got Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I mean, there's a whole bunch of talented people in this cast, and yeah, for the most part, again, yeah, they're all really, really giving some very strong work here. And yeah, this again kind of feels like Spotlight in 2015, where it's like, yeah, for the most part, everywhere else I was kind of up to a certain point, I was predicting like Revenant for Best Picture or Joy early on, stuff like that. I was always like, well, for that SAG ensemble though, Spotlight's probably got it, and it's very much kind of feels that way again this year with Trial of the Chicago 7. Not saying it's impossible for it to lose. I mean, obviously it could all of a sudden not make it into nominations or anything, but and again. That's my one rule of thumb. The other rule of thumb is, and it falls into line here with Trial of Chicago 7, and again, this is something, if you look at some of the last couple of years here, you're looking at films that premiered really, for the most part, not late in the year. Like Bombshell, yeah, that was kind of one of the last ones to drop last year, and that one got in, but otherwise, Jojo Rabbit premiered early and released in October. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was shown at Cannes and then premiered in July. The Irishman premiered, I believe, in October was it October or September in New York, and then was released on Netflix in November and in theaters in November. And then Parasite was another one, premiered at Cannes and then went on to open in October. So those were, for the most part, early, Bombshell being an exception. The next year you had Black Panther, which was a February release that year. Black Klansman, which I played somewhere before it got to theaters in August. Was that a Cannes one again? Maybe I'm not remembering that right. Crazy Rich Asians, which was an August release. Bohemian Rhapsody, which was out in November, and Star is Born, which was released in October. So, nothing after like the first week of November for that year. And then the previous year, again, just to kind of go through these last 3 years, you had Mudbound, which was out, I believe, November or October on Netflix that year. Lady Bird, which was November, but premiered earlier. Get Out, which was February. Big Sick, which is over the summer, and Three Billboards, which again premiered at a couple festivals there in September, August, October, and then went on to release in November. So you're looking at ones that traditionally don't land at the last second. And even that being said, though, of course, this being the year that it is, it's almost, releasing in December this year, is not the kind of wishy-washy thing that it was in the last few years. Like, you can even say last year's stuff like Little Women didn't do so well because it released in December. The Post, I remember, was a big one, and that released in December of 2017, and I don't think everybody quite got to it. There's other examples, of course, but it's like traditionally it's something I've, again, really, really picked up on here in the last couple of years. It's like if you're releasing really late, there's a chance you might just get skipped over in favor of stuff that was released early. So, Trial of Chicago 7, especially in the terms of this year's race, release in October was like almost like releasing in February or March. It's like it's super, super early. And yeah, again, for the most part, it's just the strength of that cast is so good. Anyways, and then you have One Night in Miami I have in second place. Again, that one premiered early, and now it's releasing on Amazon, so that one will stick around. Ma Rainey's I have in there as well. So those are two, obviously, mostly black casts, or some diversity in there, but yeah, mostly black. So probably a good chance that both of them make it in. And then Minari for fourth place for me. It's we've seen Asian or Asian mixed casts in the last 2 years really do well, especially with Parasite winning last year. So Minari almost feels like it almost has, and I missed this one last year. I had another early one last year was the Dolomite Is My Name, which I had predicted to get in, and I was like, I'm not going to move it, and it didn't land, but didn't get anything last year, but at SAG. But it was early release, very diverse cast, or at least mostly black cast, with a couple others thrown in there, like Bob Odenkirk, if I remember right. So and Minari is more as a mixed cast as well. And then To Five Bloods is my fifth place pick here, and that's and of course another thing that I didn't mention as well, Netflix. You got to get at least two from Netflix in here. So again, just going through the last couple there, Irishman was a Netflix one last year. I was kind of shocked, they didn't have Dolomite in there. Otherwise, and then there was actually no Netflix in 2018 either, was there? Huh? Okay, but I know, Mudbound we mentioned, 2017 was a Netflix one for sure. So yeah. So that's, and Black Panther almost felt like a Netflix one from 2018 because it was on Netflix so early there after it had gone out on video. So technically that one, it's by technicality, maybe you count that one. Anyways, but one from Netflix that I am not counting on at all, and I mentioned this in the other video as well, is Mank. I'm not going to fall into this trap again like Marriage Story, where, remember, here at the Screen Actors Guild for the Ensemble Prize, if you have, and I believe this was explained to me correctly last year, it depends on who has all the single credits. If you get a single credit when your name goes by in the credits, whether it's at the end or at the beginning, you'd get counted in the ensemble. If you're paired with somebody, you don't get counted unless you're the first credit in the movie or something. It's something along those lines. Basically, that's kind of the way it goes. But so I'm kind of mixed too though about Ma Rainey's, because the first title card at the end that reveals the cast has both Chadwick and Viola on it. Then after that they do go to single ones for like Coleman Domingo and Glenn Turman and stuff. So I don't know if that. So I'm kind of waffling on that one. Maybe moving that one out in favor of something else later. And then Mank, it's like the first one is by itself is Gary Oldman. Then after that, and it's like with Amanda Seyfried, Lily Collins, Arliss Howard, blah blah blah. However else they ranked him there, it's like all the rest are like almost all grouped together. So I'm like, oof, yeah, that one I'm not going to touch that one. So and I believe To Five Bloods was one that had everybody there. I haven't seen The Prom yet, but I know that's another Netflix one. Trial of Chicago 7, I believe, had everybody by itself, so that one should be fine from Netflix. But it's like I just particularly noticed the Netflix ones have that problem lately. But anyways, so yeah, that's one I always look to, to try to clue me in there. And I remember I thought about it with last year with Marriage Story, like when I was watching it, and then as soon as I was, moved on to the next thing, it never came into my head again until the morning of the SAG nominations. And I'm like, where the fuck is Marriage Story? And then I'm like, oh. And then, yeah. And I kind of thought about it, like, as soon as I was done shooting the video, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. And then, yeah, somebody, I can't remember who, but yeah, they jumped in and said, yeah, it was probably that. And I was like, oh, yeah, I knew that. So, and then I explained it in the next video. Anyway, so speaking of the prom, though, I do think that one is close. It didn't premiere as early as stuff like Trial Chicago 7 or Mank on Netflix, but it was, right in the same period there. And again, December is not, as going to be as big a worry this year as it was in previous years. Otherwise, I was going to mention this if I didn't in the past video. I can't remember if I did or not. But Promising Young Woman is actually a dark horse contender I can actually put some faith in this year. That's one I can actually see. Because if you see the movie, it's like there's a couple of those 2 credit people at the beginning. But it's like almost everybody else has a single credit. And it's like it's a pretty big ensemble there. You've got not only Bo Burnham and Carey Mulligan, but you've got like Clancy Brown, Jennifer Coolidge, Molly Shannon, Connie Britton, Alison Brie, and quite a few others there. It's quite an ensemble. So it's like that's one, and it's again right now it's picking up a lot of steam right now because it's out in theaters now. But we don't know where it's going to be around late January when SAG nomination ballots are due and stuff. Or I would imagine late January is when they're due. Otherwise, a couple other diverse casts to think about that haven't shown yet is United States versus Billie Holiday and Judas and the Black Messiah. Sound of Metal is one some people are putting in now, and that's kind of gotten some boosts here lately from some critics' prizes. And then The Father is one. I have that one in for Best Picture. I don't know. It feels like, without having seen it, it feels like a 2-person show, which hurt Green Book really bad a few years ago, and stuff like that. So yeah, and then you could argue there was one last year that I was making that argument for, but I can't remember which one it was. And I said it wasn't going to get in. I can't remember if there was one. Maybe it didn't get anything then. Okay, but it was like, yeah, there's a few that and I fell for the Green Book one that year. But it's like, yeah, it seems like when it's a 2-person kind of movie like that. Yeah, I would kind of be a little more wary of that. Otherwise, another Netflix one premiered early, so it might be in their heads and stick around, is The Boys in the Band. It's being a kind of gay story, falling into LGBTQ all plus, or, whatever the acronym is nowadays. And then Hillbilly Elegy is another one. If just enough voters like it, it might somehow sneak in. I'm very wary of it, but. Yeah, and even then, other films like that I have up for Best Picture, like Nomadland and News of the World, again, don't really feel like huge ensemble achievements. I'm just kind of looking through, like Pieces of a Woman. I've seen a couple people are putting their votes in for that, and it's like, possibly. That one seems like a little bit more ensemble than some of these other ones, but... yeah, and then and again, remember Netflix, like last year they only got 1 in, but it's like, yeah, they traditionally do get at least 2. So I've got how many do I have? 2 in right now, don't I? I have Defy Bloods. Oh, I do have 3. Yeah, with Ma Rainey's Trial Chicago 7, Defy Bloods. So yeah, we'll have to see there. Okay, Best Actor. I have for the most part, most of these nominations for the acting categories I have about the same as the Oscars. Chadwick Boseman out front, Anthony Hopkins, Gary Oldman, Delroy Lindo, and Kingsley Ben-Adir. Watch out for, we've again kind of gone over these, but Riz Ahmed is kind of strong right now. Again, we'll see. And once I see the film, I might change my mind and put him in. Tom Hanks, possibly for News of the World. Stephen Yeun for Minari, I think I'm saying it right. And then yet unseen is Tom Holland and Cherry, which is coming from Apple. I imagine we'll start getting some buzz on that pretty quick here, if they think it's got a legit chance. Let's see, for Best Actress, I have Viola Davis out front for Ma Rainey's, and then Frances McDormand, Vanessa Kirby, Kate Winslet, and Carey Mulligan. So yeah, that's the same as the Best Actress lineup for the Oscars right now. Again, kind of looking at the same here. Meryl Streep might punch through here for the prom, possibly, but again, I don't know. That's a tough one. It could get the single nomination for her and then nothing else, or it could get her and ensemble, or it could just get ensemble. I can see all 3 of those scenarios kind of playing out there. let's see here, who else? Sophia Loren is one I'm kind of keeping an eye out for, possibly because, and again, one other rule that you really look at up until last year, it seems, is the foreign language performances. If it's not in English, it traditionally does not do very well. Parasite, with winning ensemble last year was the big exception to that. But and again, no actors got in. Antonio Banderas, did not get in last year for his movie as well. So Sophia Loren might struggle there for the life ahead. And then, like we mentioned here, Michelle Pfeiffer is one I'm not going to throw away entirely here as a possibility. Andra Day, again, we haven't seen her yet in The United States vs. Billie Holiday. Possibly Amy Adams for Hillbilly Elegy. Possibly Zendaya for Malcolm and Marie. And, yeah, I think that's really about it for that one. All right, then we'll quickly go into the supporting races. And again, not too many changes here from the Oscars. The only thing, though... Actually, while we're talking about a supporting actor, I do have one change here. I have Mark Rylance ahead in this one, and of course that's because in 2015, Idris Elba won for Beasts of No Nation instead of Mark Rylance for Bridge of Spies. So I think they're going to play makeup here, and it is a chance, in case they do, for whatever reason, Trial Chicago 7 misses the ensemble prize, or they give it something else, then they can give Trial Chicago 7 something. Let's see, and then Leslie Odom Jr. I think is a very solid second place, though, for One Night in Miami. Then Sacha Baron Cohen. I do have Yahya Abdul-Mateen II in, and then David Strathairn for Nomadland. So I do have the same 5, just a little bit difference on the order there. Again, kind of keep an eye out for Chadwick Boseman in this for The Five Bloods. That's one I can maybe see doing a little stronger here, like getting not only Delroy in the ensemble, but also Chadwick. And then, let's see, we kind of mentioned some of the other ones here in the last video, like Bill Murray for On the Rocks, in case that one comes through, Daniel Kaluuya for Judas and the Black Messiah, Stanley Tucci for Supernova, possibly, stuff like that. And again, well, talking about Stanley Tucci without having seen the film either, it does seem like if that one does get in, having not seen the film, that seems like another one, like we might run into the Beautiful Boy, Timothée Chalamet problem, where... it's like if it's only expected to get the one nomination, some of the voters might skip over it, even if they get in everywhere like he did. Or Albert Brooks got a fair number of nominations for Drive, and then that got a goose egg at the Oscars. So that's one I didn't mention in my Oscar video, but it's like that's one I'm possibly keeping in mind there. And then for supporting actress, again, I have a little bit of a change here. I have the same 5. Sorry. That's right. I just moved Olivia for the Oscar. Sorry. I had her out front from pretty much from the beginning here, except for no, I don't think I had Glenn Close early here. No, I think I've always had Olivia Colman out front here because she did lose to Glenn Close at the SAGs here a couple of years ago for The Wife. So I have Olivia up front for The Father, though, and then Amanda Seyfried in second for Mank, then Ellen Burstyn, Helena Zengel I do have getting in, and then Glenn Close for Hillbilly Elegy. We'll see if maybe Amazon, they do have One Night in Miami, and I believe they have Sound of Metal as well, so if that one does get a couple things. But otherwise, the Borat sequel, Maria Bakalova, possible at this point. Saoirse Ronan for Ammonite, possible. Yoo Jung-yun for Minari, possible. Yeah, I think that's really about it. That's basically the same story as the Oscars there. Okay, and then... I'm going to take a stab here. It's not on the Gold Derby odds or anything, and I don't see anything on IndieWire yet for SAGs at all. But how about that stunt ensemble? This is going to be a weird year for that, because it's like normally in a normal year we'll have all the blockbusters fill up 4 spots, and then 1 spot will go to some weird film like Nocturnal Animals or Joker last year, getting those stunt ensemble prizes. Let's see. Last year, the weird one was Joker. Let's see, the year before, if we go back, Ballad of Buster Scruggs was the one in 2018. I believe, didn't I just say what it was? No, I'm 2016 was Nocturnal Animals. Who was the weird one in 2017? Because these kind of make sense. War from the Planet of the Apes, Logan, Dunkirk, Baby Driver, Wonder Woman. I don't know. Maybe Baby Driver I thought was weird, but I don't know. Anyways, if there's a weird one this year... I don't know. I'm trying to think here because from the blockbusters that have come out and stuff, I think Wonder Woman is probably a very good bet at this point for that one. The first one won for stunt ensemble, upsetting Dunkirk there in 2017, so that's probably a good bet. Maybe something like Trial Chicago 7 because there's the protesters get clashed with the police a couple times, so there's probably some stunts involved in that. There's like no stunts in Ma Rainey's. I don't believe there's any stunts in One Night in Miami, and I haven't seen that one, so I might be wrong. Defy Bloods feels like a strong pick here, so that one and Wonder Woman almost for sure, I would say. Even though there's not like a ton of stuff in Defy Bloods that would lend towards stunts, I mean, I can see that one happening. Let's see, I'm kind of looking through here. I don't know about maybe the Sound of Metal. You guys can help me out here, having not seen it. Is that one possible? I don't know. Judas and the Black Messiah, maybe. There's not, I mean, Promising Young Woman, without spoiling anything in the film, because that's one by the way, I do recommend seeing that one. If you don't know anything about it, go ahead and see it blind. It's fine. I think it almost improves that way. Yeah, that one, maybe. I mean, on the slight, I mean, it would be like a Nocturnal Animals type nomination. News of the World. Yeah, that's one I can see making the stunt ensemble. There you go. Tenet's, yeah, that's the other blockbuster. I was going through my Rolodex in my mind. I'm like, okay, Warner Brothers had, Wonder Woman. Then I'm like, shit, I can't. And then, Tenet almost certain will get in there. So if we're just going through there, those two for sure, I would say. And then Defy Bloods feels pretty safe at this point. News of the World feels relatively safe. And then, either a Chicago 7 or... Yeah, it's finding that weird one this year is going to be a little added difficulty because there's a few we can go with here, but I'm kind of going through the rest. There's like a whole big list here. I haven't seen that Midnight Sky. That kind of seems like one that maybe has a little bit of a say there. Cherry, I don't know if we'll get much war sequences, possibly. Mulan is a possibility as well. Greyhound, another Tom Hanks one, World War II movie. So, there's a little bit of competition there in that one. So, otherwise, that's like every movie that came out this year. All right. So, that stunt ensemble is always tricky. If I get at least 2 or 3, I'm always happy with that. But anyways. Okay. So, we had a pretty quick one there, but generally, again, rule of thumbs are try to go with more diverse casts. Definitely pick stuff that has been around a while, which, again, this year, that's not going to be a struggle. And Minari has premiered enough stuff, I think, early, like Sundance and everything. I think mostly that one's going to be safe, even though it is a February release, which is kind of the, I guess, equivalent to being a late December release in a normal Oscar year. But, Okay. I feel like that's it. So next video, I don't know when I'm going to shoot it, but we'll get into some stuff for the technical awards at the Oscars for cinematography, score, sound, production design, costume design. We might take a shot at best song. That's always the one I struggle with, because it's like I always have to have like a master list in front of me, and even then it's like, okay, I always see like 2 or 3. I'm like, yep, and then I'm to 5, and then I've got like more than half the document to go through. So it's like, oh shit. Yep. All right. Well, so we'll sign off for now, and we will catch you later.